Today, I'm going to tell you a story. It's a story of 26 frightened, neglected, and abused horses. A story that connects with a 97-year-long campaign. A story that connects with World Horse Welfare's March on Parliament that I took part in last year. This is the story of the Dover 26.
Hello, I've got some snackies here. Do you want to see it? Some snackies? Yeah, it's some snackies. If I just stay really still. Oh, good girl. Good girl. That's okay. You go for it. Oh, it's a bit scary, I know. You're okay. Well done. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. There we go.
This is pony number 22, and we're going to meet her again later in this story. She was found along with 25 other horses, frightened and distressed, in a terribly overcrowded lorry at the port of Dover, bound for Europe. Many of the ponies were travelling without documentation, so we don't know their backstory, but it's very likely they were heading to the slaughterhouses of Europe. They had already travelled many miles, with first travelling across England to Ireland to pick up Irish documentation before heading back to the UK. This sort of merry-go-round is typical behaviour of smugglers to create a smokescreen and avoid detection. Luckily for these ponies, the overcrowding caused suspicion at the border, and the driver panicked and abandoned them at the port. The ponies then came here to Hall Farm, HQ of World Horse Welfare, to be cared for. So welcome to World Horse Welfare, Hall Farm, and let's meet the ponies and find out the rest of their story.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're now here with a group of colts, all cobs I believe, that were also part of the 26 at Dover. And you can see here from me giving them some food, they're all pretty boisterous, and you can imagine like how cramped they were in that lorry. You know, how it would have been such a high stress environment having all these horses next to each other, these guys like nipping at each other, kicking. Mustn't have been very nice, especially on how long the journey was. And a lot of these horses were probably, the reason why they were being shipped out is because they're quite low value horses. And it's probably where you guys were going. Somewhere not very nice, but you're here now at World Horse Welfare and you're getting all the snackies, aren't you? Apparently when they first came here, they weren't very well handled. They weren't used to having like people around them that much. So it's lovely to see, even though they haven't been here that long, that World Horse Welfare has been working with them so much that they're a lot more used to human contact and also happy to come up here to meet a stranger that they've never seen before and receive some snacks. So I've got to make sure that each of them gets enough. There's a black horse behind here and there's a bay as well. This bay around here is beautiful. It's got one blue eye, and these cremellos, they make me think so much of Mickey. They could be like Mickey's little younger brothers, but yeah, I've got to make sure that the bay gets some because I don't think he's had any yet and I feel a bit bad. These two, this cremello and this black horse with the blaze, these two are definitely the dominant ones of the colt herd. You guys have been in there with your little fluffy moustaches and snoots getting all the food. Got to make sure that your friends get some too. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's Lorraine. She'll tell
Hello.
you now,
Hello. Oh, you are very pretty. Hello. First to the snacks, hey? Oh, they're coming. To be fair, most of the 12 are coming over. We might need a second snack lady in a sec. So we've now just come over to the mare's paddock, give them a bit of snacks, said hello, and what's actually quite surprising is normally when I come to places like World Horse Welfare where they have horses that they haven't had here for very long, they're often very scared of humans, like they wouldn't have run over like this, so it makes you think that some of these horses might have been childhood ponies that were maybe sold on with good intentions but ended up in the wrong place very sadly. Especially some of these mares here are quite old. You could think that maybe back in the day when they were a bit younger in their prime they could have been like pony club ponies or childhood ponies, which is really, really sad to think about, but at least they're here now and they're being well looked after. We also have quite a lot of pregnant mares as well. Some of these mares had no passports or documentation at all, so we don't really have much of an idea where they came from. We've got some younger mares here as well, so we've got a real mixture, a real variety. And again, there's this one dominant mare who is a fell pony, And yeah, she's been a little bit aggressive to the others, especially with us coming over here with food. And again, it makes you think what it would have been like in that transport, all of them being so crushed up together. They probably would have been kicking and biting each other. They would have been in with the colts as well. So it would have just been awful. It would have been chaos. There was one mare that very sadly we've lost. She was really, really old, really frail, had really awful arthritis, and unfortunately she didn't make it. So we're just so lucky that they're all here. Oh, they've gone for a run. Some of them have run away. I think some of their friends have just been taken away actually to go and do some handling and some rehabilitation, some work with the handlers. So yeah, we've got some left here. The old girls actually, we've got the 3 old girls left here behind me. So you can see some of them have got a little bit of grey hair coming through. The fell pony as well, she's pretty chunky. So all different sort of conditions here, all different shapes and sizes. I'm just so glad that they're not on that truck anymore.
Last year, I took part in a World Horse Welfare March on Parliament. This was to raise awareness of horse smuggling and also to push for a ban on the live export of animals for slaughter. This is the result of a 97-year-long campaign to stop this inhumane way of treating our animals. The work of World Horse Welfare has now helped to push this bill through Parliament and is now in the House of Lords. With cross-party support, we're very hopeful that in the near future we will finally see a ban on the export of live animals for slaughter.
Alrighty, we're now here with Crocus, who is very, very sensitive. She's been through goodness knows how much, but she's been through a lot. And you know, you could imagine, like, if you look at her condition isn't actually that bad. Like, you could imagine her being like a little mountain and moorland pony. You can imagine like a little child riding her at a show or something like that. But she's probably been through so much, and that's why she's a little bit scared of humans. Some of the handlers that I was talking to earlier, some of the mares that they've taken in, they were really, really nervous to start with. They've kind of got their trust, and they already know how to do a lot of basic things when being handled. For example, when you put your hand on their leg, they know how to pick up their hoof, to have their hooves picked out and things like that. So obviously I'm a new person that she's never met before, and I'm just going to let her come up to me. She did have a little bit of the pony nuts that I have in here. However, what happened was she kind of moved the bowl a little bit and it made her jump. So she's scared herself a little bit. So I'm not going to put too much pressure on her. I'm just going to let her come to me, and hopefully you can have some more snackies. So there are actually 3 sort of mares in this kind of crew yard area, and it's actually near the front gate, so when the general public come in they can walk by, they can say hello. So this is really good for maybe the mares or the horses that need a little bit more handling, a little bit more positive experience with humans. So if you're ever nearby any of the World Horse Welfare rehoming centres, I'd really recommend coming along. You can have a great day out, you can have a little walk around, get a cup of tea, that kind of thing. Also see some of the horses too. So shall we try again? Would you like some snacks? Oh, good girl. You had a little look. Just reading her body language, making sure I don't kind of put too much pressure on her. Because we want, oh, good girl. There we go. Did you enjoy that? A little bit of a snack? Yeah. Oh, good girl. There we go. Good girl. A lot of the time here at World Horse Welfare, when the horses are taken on all the ponies, they tend to have like one handler that's kind of their person. They're the person that they're working with, so they can really build up that trust with somebody. So apparently the handler that handles Crocus here can very easily come in, put a head collar on her, lead her around. She's fine with them, but obviously new people, looks like she's had a really bad experience of humans, and that's why she is just a little bit more nervous. But apparently her confidence is building, which is great news. Good girl, there we go. Oh, you've polished off all of the snacks. All gone. Oh, well done. Good girl. Oh, sorry, that was a bit too quick, wasn't it? There we go. So we're now here with Pony 22 that doesn't have a name. She doesn't have any documentation, passports, so that's why she's just Pony 22 at the moment. And I was saying, she looks so much like Duke. I'd say her face, oh sorry, I put my hand up a bit too quick there. Her face is a little bit more like typical Welshie compared to Duke, and I think she's a little bit bigger as well, but like her colourings are very similar. So I was saying if they need to come up with a name for her, they should call her Duchess, because she does look very similar to Duke. It makes me really emotional because, and it like chokes me up a bit because, you know, that could have been Duke, that could have been, you know, and she's just a sweet, lovely little pony, and she's been through such horrors, such horrible conditions, to what we assume would have been a very, very horrible end as well. So I'm just so glad that Wild Horse Welfare have managed to take them all in.
So now we know how the story will end for these ponies. They'll be looked after and found forever homes, and will hopefully learn to trust humans again. But this story doesn't end here. We don't know how many other horses and ponies are still being smuggled across the border to slaughterhouses of Europe. If you can, please support Wild Horse Welfare to continue their work by donating or sharing this video so others are aware of the problem. Thank you for watching.